What is up, guys? Jen Graves here with Otakuology and my co-host, Otaku Mike,
Hey guys, how's it going?
and we are here today to talk about and inform you guys about fan service. Now, what we're going to talk about specifically with fan service is, does it hurt or help the community? So, what do you think, Mike, on this subject of fan service? Just out in the open before we get some questions and stuff.
Just like in general,
Yeah,
or like
just in
what,
general.
or what do I think it like is?
Just in general.
Just in general, I think it's a thing you need uh, to break up the levity of sometimes of certain series that you could possibly be reading, and I actually quite enjoy fan service in
I'm
my
I'm I'm
personal
on that too. I enjoy fan service too, especially whenever you do have that scene and it's something that just kind of happens naturally in it. Now, if it's something that's really really forced, uh, I'm probably gonna have to
So
pass on it.
for the people who are newer to manga or anime, what is fan service, Jen?
So, fan service is basically one of those things that you can watch in in mostly manga and anime, but it's spilled over into a lot of other areas. Um, and basically, what like a dictionary term is something that you watch and it's very pleasing to the eye, something you like. For example, it could be. I feel like in a TV show, it would be where the wind blows, the girls skirt up, and maybe we get a panty flash.
Or maybe you see like a very attractive man,
Right. Or the lady drops something, you can see down her shirt. A lot of different things that come with that.
or what about when like a guy like pushes another guy up against a locker and holds him
I mean, that could be something too. I feel like that stuff. So I feel like you could also look at some stuff like in the old like uh, romance books or like smut books or whatever, where you see the guy kind of raise his shirt up a little bit and you see a little bit of his abs, or maybe it's that kind of teaser where you see him pull his pants down, but it's just right before you start getting to like his pelvic area and stuff. Um, Things like that. I feel like though fan service has really evolved from then to many different things. Um, just like now, like people just think if you have a character with a big pair of knockers or nice ass or something like that, that's fan service. Naked guy, that's fan service. So I feel like
well, I mean,
fans.
who doesn't love looking at a naked guy? You know,
I,
just that.
hey man,
You know, you
I
know, you
think
know.
I think we've all had one of those moments where we've been, hey, that guy looks pretty hot.
Yeah. Um, but do you do you personally feel like fan service hurts anime or manga?
I feel like fan service does not hurt any particular anime manga. I feel like the fans hurt it because of
Why?
that.
Why is that?
I feel like a lot of fans either themselves have that hidden agenda that they can't keep it in their pants secretly,
Uh
so
huh.
they have to flip it on its head and attack it. Or you have
Yeah.
people that like to sit there and basically call it out and say, "Oh my gosh, did you see that?" They try and call attention to it. I really think those are things that hurt it instead of people being adults about it and just being able to say, "Hey,
Why?
that
Why
was
do you?
nice."
Why do you think people do that?
Like I said, I just feel like people probably haven't grown up a lot. That's really what it comes down to. I like to think back that we were all in high school at one point or something like that, and we got to see that really cute girl or really cute guy walk by, and there was something that attracted us to him, and you were kind of like, man, I would definitely like to be a fly on the wall in their room.
I mean, we've obviously been around because we both do YouTube and we've done manga and anime stuff on YouTube, and I would say there are people out there. I feel like there's a divide when it comes to fan service. You're either for it or you're against it. That's personally how I feel.
Definitely
Uh,
agree.
but I always find it interesting talking to people when it comes to fan service or when they, I don't want to say like sometimes judge you for like the stuff that you pick up. But yeah, um, I I feel like fan service is very misunderstood.
I agree.
Like I'm not trying to defend fan service wholeheartedly, but I feel like it's misunderstood and
No, I mean, I definitely agree with that. Expanding on that, I feel like fan service is really good in small doses, but like one of the manga that I own, and I found out there was an anime for it, and I've talked to my brother and stuff about it. Is Eiken,
oh
Eik
my
N?
god.
If you check it out,
Oh my god.
definitely check. Just look up a picture of
No
it.
no.
Uh, I'm talking to our fans. You guys just look up a picture of it. After that, burn your phone, take a razor blade to your eyes. You
So
really don't need to see any of that again.
I actually have a funny story about Ekin or Aiken, however you want to call it.
Yeah, because,
Um
well, so side note, all these girls, small and large, all have huge boobs for no apparent reason. And there are
yes.
plenty of panty shots for no apparent reason.
I mean, they're like so huge. Like, I I don't see how they don't have chronic back problems, and they're like just their spines are just snapping in
I
half
mean, they are
because
definitely, they have like, they
because
have some kind of Wolverine healing gene,
they're
and
just
they're defying gravity. Okay, I mean that's what it
okay.
is.
Okay, so I found this. I found this anime back in college. I was probably maybe like 18, 19 years old. I went to my local store and they had anime that you could rent there. And it was like a two for one thing where you would rent it for two of them for the price of one for a day.
Right?
And I saw this on the shelf, and I picked it up, and I was like, oh my god, like what is this? But yet the pervy young kid in me was like, hey, I need to watch this. And I picked that up, and I picked up I think it was Elfenlied as well, like the volume one of Elfenlied,
Oh man,
the DVD, because it was, and because they were like right next to each other, and
you definitely picked up some bangers in that match. I feel like those are two of the biggest ones that would make a kid swear off of sex and everything before it happened.
so I picked them up, I took them home, and I put an eke in, and I watched it, and I was like, this is the biggest piece of shit I've ever watched. This is so stupid.
Right?
How did this get two episodes of an anime? How did it get two episodes? Because it's full of like I would say it puts um, fan service in a very bad light. It's too much, and it's too there's a line
Right.
that it crossed. No, I'm not saying like there's some manga that I read that it doesn't cross that line as well, but this it just felt Excuse me.
Yeah, this one doesn't even just step over the line. This one says, "Hey, I'm gonna run like a 2,000-mile marathon." Uh,
I'm going to take your line and move it, basically.
exactly. I'm gonna take your line and move it. I'm gonna run past it over and over and over again until you realize that this is all just a big joke and you should probably laugh at it.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my god, like what did I just watch? Uh, I was I don't know how to explain it. It was not good fan service whatsoever.
Right?
Uh,
Yeah. I definitely think it would be a good podcast for the future for us to do like
are we going to review Icon?
no, we're definitely not reviewing that. But
If people want, comment down below and we'll review Icon.
we can do our top 5 fan service that makes you not want to believe in fan service. Because this is definitely that.
But yeah, I when I've talked to people about fan service or different manga or anime that I've watched, and a lot of people are like, no, like fan service is usually not my thing. You know, I'm not a quote pervert or whatever. I I feel like people who don't like fan service, one, they're not comfortable with it, but I feel like they're just not comfortable with sexuality in general
Right.
or adult things in
So
general, and they're
so
not comfortable with their sexuality.
so let me throw this out at you. Do you feel that ecchi is fan service?
It's the same thing. Oh, it's a fan service, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Because honestly, I feel like people take the term fan service and just put it with ecchi, even though they do technically mean the same thing.
Right.
Because excuse me, I gotta drink some water.
Drink some water.
But this is where I feel like a lot of people are very misinformed because fan service is put in anime or manga for the fans, and it can be more than just a provocative situation. It can be a cool fight scene, a cool extended fight scene, a robot, explosions, an inside joke that references something else like an anime or something like that. It's not just tits and ass.
Right.
And
Definitely.
that's where I feel like people are wrong and they don't want to look past it and they're just like I don't I'm just not, you know.
Right. I feel like getting on the subject of genres for a second.
Uh-huh.
I feel like the ones that target males more,
Uh-huh.
shonen and seinen. I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of time, even though I feel like there is more
Uh-huh.
ecchi or fan service in them. Uh, on a scale level, I don't feel like they're ever as bad as you find ecchi and fan service in shojo and joseis. I feel like there might be less of it in there, but they're on a much higher scale than shonen and
Mm-hmm.
seinen.
Well, I want to take a pause for a minute and we're going to take a little quick break and hear from our
So
sponsors.
we'll see y'all right after the break.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership required. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Hey guys, we're
all
back.
right. We are
Oh,
back. So we were discussing the different types of fan service.
Ryan, I
Um,
proposed the question to you about how shonen and seinen have more etchy and fan service, but it is at a lot lower toned down level than josei and shoujo have. Less of it, but
um,
more intense.
Sometimes I feel like shonen titles have a lot more fan service. Um, because there's always shirtless men in the manga. Like, I don't know how many times I've seen Goku without his shirt off.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like in that aspect, you can't exactly call it fan service or etchy because I'm not reading Dragon Ball Z for Goku's shirt off.
I mean, some people might be reading
Now,
Dragon Ball Z for Goku's shirt
now
off.
I would, yeah, but that's when most of the time when the ladies are reading that.
I mean, so I don't
Now,
know. I don't know about the whole Josei
now
Shoujo thing.
I would probably say that I would read Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z for the Bulma.
Oh, okay. But so,
Okay.
but going with the Josei Shoujo fan service thing, I don't know much or have read much in that genre to necessarily speak on that.
Right.
So I can't say whether or not. But I do feel like when it comes to seinen titles, it is actually more. There's more fan service in those than in shonen, but there is fan service in your typical shonen manga.
Right.
Usually with the girls.
Right.
And it's not like blatant fan service all the time, but it's like, oh, this girl's in a bikini now, or her costume, or whatnot,
Right.
or how she acts. I do feel like it does go up when you get into the seinen because I have read some seinen that are almost a hentai. Like it gets to
Definitely.
it gets to that line, and it's like, hey, we could have been a hentai, but we decided not to be hentai. Um, you know,
Yeah. Do you think that there's more of a line of in the sand of what we consider some of that stuff to be? Like, for example, like if we see a kiss in
uh,
a shonen or something like that, doesn't exactly seem like fan service to most of the people that demographic targets. Um, but as
I,
far as like shojo goes, I feel like that is part of the fan service.
I would say it is fan service in a way because you everybody always wants to see their favorite character shipped together, or as the kids say. Um, I would say it is. I lost my train of thought just now.
Well,
Uh,
let me throw this question out there to you because this is a question I don't want you to answer like
huh.
wholeheartedly with it because this is one we can definitely throw out and make another podcast thing
Uh
with.
huh.
But um, how do you feel about that kind of fan service, the shipping of characters, and yet we know that they're never going to be together, but other people are like, yes, I need this to happen, please.
Honestly, I think it's stupid. I,
Would
I,
you care to elaborate?
I don't, I don't understand that part of the fandom. Like, people get so like. I remember when people got so angry when Ichigo and Orihime got together,
Yes,
and I think people wanted Ichigo and Rukia to be together. Be together.
yes,
I don't think it's the fans. The fans should never decide on how a manga should be made or how the story should go. For a character's development, or if even if the character is gets the two characters get together. I think it should always be solely on the creator and their editor. But I do know that the fans do have sort of an influence. Well, I should say the Japanese fans do,
Right.
because they do those the character voting things, and sometimes,
Oh, the most popular characters.
yes,
Yeah.
sometimes those actually do influence the editor, and it goes down the line, and then they might be like, hey, put you need to put more Zorro, and I we need Robin in here as well, and then maybe we'll throw in Nami, and they can be have like a love triangle, because these
Right.
are three of our most popular characters, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I don't like that. I think, I mean, it might be fun to like play around like that and like, you know, like, I guess fantasize about, you know, your favorite characters ending up together. But at some point, I feel like it kind of gets a little toxic,
Definitely.
and I hate to throw the word toxic around, um, but it it's a part of the fandom that just went over my head, and I just don't understand it, because I don't I growing up I didn't see that
Right.
side of the fandom, so it never affected me until, honestly, maybe like a couple years ago I noticed it.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird.
Well,
I
like
hate to say that, but it's kind of weird.
the way that I kind of see it, I feel like is I think it's really fun to see the way that the artist picks them or
Yeah.
the author. Honestly, because I feel like that's almost a blind side.
Yeah.
Any hoping that I could do of whoever getting together. Maybe I wanted Naruto. Maybe I wanted Tamari and Choji to get together, or
Uh huh.
something like that. I wanted Gara and Tintin, or something like that. Whoever it is. Maybe I had that dream or whatever. But I
Hmm.
always find it, especially after they went into Boruto and seeing who ended up together,
Yeah.
um, characters that you could almost make the connection with there, and finding it. There were some characters I was like, I don't know how they got together, but that's cool.
I mean,
Uh, you know,
in Naruto, was there a fan base where, or correct me if I'm wrong, where they wanted Naruto and and Sakura to be together?
yes,
Okay. Um, I never really liked Naruto and Sakura together. Like, it just didn't seem to fit to me.
yeah. I
I just thought Naruto would be like forever alone.
I I never really cared either, and whenever it happened, I was like, oh, okay, you know.
Yeah.
I more so had other characters that I kind of wanted to um, be together because you knew they had those moments
Uh huh.
and stuff, and so there's some of them that I'm just kind of okay,
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah. No,
sure.
I get you. I get you. But so going back to all the fan service thing, why why do you feel that people like look so negatively upon fan service? And how do you think it could be the views could be changed on it? Like their opinions could
I
be changed on it,
I
because I feel like, sorry to cut you off.
uh,
I feel like, I don't want to get sexist here, or I feel like people look at quote male fan service or the male gaze differently than like the female gaze.
right,
Like, so like our fan service is sort of different than their fan service, and it's looked on differently, vice versa, between both sexes, you
right.
know.
I definitely agree with that. Like my coworker and I had an actual talk about part of some of this stuff earlier,
Uh-huh.
um, about how like a guy that likes fan service or whatever, most of the time you'll have a girl that goes, "Oh, basically they think you're a pig."
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I've
virtually.
gotten that quite a few times,
And
honestly.
I find it really funny though because most girls that tread those waters like BL, and
Yeah,
most BL is rape, and
yeah,
they
yeah.
think that that is like BL is just like God's gift to the world, and that's what I was kind of telling him. I said, you know, you almost have this aura or
Uh
this
huh.
kind
Uh
of
huh.
sight into it of that's like a particular girl.
Uh,
And when they want to kind of be the whistleblower on some things or whatever, I find it really weird in that aspect because it's kind of like you want to say that me looking at somebody's boobs or ass are kind of out of line, but you're reading full blown scenes of rape and think it's okay. I
do you
I just find that's a really weird catch 22 that people like to
do
throw out there.
do you feel like we should just like not really have that divide and that way of thinking and just be like, hey, we're all just a bunch of perverts and let's admit it.
Yeah,
We like
I mean, it's true. I mean, either you're out about your perversions or you're a closet pervert. You know,
I honestly feel like that's what because early on in my YouTube career, like I was fairly open about the things that I enjoyed, and I'm fairly known for reviewing like more adult etchy titles,
right,
and people called me like the king of etchy or or
right.
whatever.
That's been tossed around so many times
Yeah,
between you and I.
and like people would make fun of me for what I read, and I'm just like you don't have to do that. Just if it's not your thing, it's not your thing.
Right, right. Just pass on by. You
Yeah,
know,
but it's never really the case. But what? Let's start to wrap this up.
right.
What is one title that you would suggest to somebody who doesn't necessarily like etchy content?
That doesn't exactly like etchy.
Yeah. We'll call them normies.
I would probably say and go with one that avoids it pretty wholeheartedly, but still has the romance factor. Would probably be My Love Story.
My love story.
Yeah, I mean that's a big one that I really enjoy. I think it is a perfect little story in itself, and you really get to go through the guy's relationship. And I feel like even though it is kind of like a shojo josei title or whatever, um, that you actually get to see the character, the male character going after a
Hmm.
female character, and you get his
Yeah,
side of it. And
that that's
I
that's
think
actually one
that's
title I've always wanted to read.
yeah. I mean, it's great.
I own the anime, but I've never actually put it in to watch it.
Oh well, maybe you'll have to do that for a future episode.
Yeah. So one title I would pick, and it's one that does have etchy stuff in it,
Right.
but I feel like it's very sparingly used,
Okay.
and I pick Tales of Wedding Rings. Um, it's a isekai series about a guy who gets sent to another world, and he is well, you've read it.
Right.
He's sent there, and he has to marry all of these other women, but he only wants to be with one woman, and it's the woman who he essentially came here with, basically, or.
Right.
But I feel like it is used well. It is not overexposed, and it's not like rammed down your throat in like inopportune uh situations.
Right. No, I agree. I definitely feel like that one, and it uses and puts it in pivotal moments that it actually fits really well with. It's
Yeah.
not just oh, here's this thing randomly out there, you know,
And all the characters are very likable. I like all the characters in it.
and they all have different personalities. So
Yeah,
I really like that too because I feel like sometimes when harems are like so big or whatever, you kind of
yeah,
have that cookie cutter shape where it's
yeah.
here's this
Here's
what
me. I'm a one note character.
right
I like food and drinking, or I don't know.
right and
But
I
yeah,
look like character 36.
yeah,
Okay.
But yeah. Thanks for listening, guys.
Right. Thanks for coming
Comment,
on, guys.
email us at Otakuology Podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram under Otakuology. Make sure to go to Apple Podcasts and rate us 5 stars. Leave us a review. It actually helps the podcast grow. And you can leave us a suggestion on a topic to talk about. And we might read your email on the podcast. Um, Thanks for listening, and I hope you guys
Right.
really enjoyed the podcast.